Is the world out there just driving you crazy? Well, listen to something just a little bit less crazy. This is Mike Dell's World.
And hello, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever the case may be, and welcome to 2021. Yeah, I took last week off. Wasn't much going on. Spent a lot of time organizing and doing year-end stuff and then year-beginning stuff and all the stuff that has to happen. And also a little disappointed that I didn't get to use my tractor much because it hasn't been snowing. And usually I don't complain about that. And I probably am not complaining really because, if there's snow, then there's stuff to do with it. And of course I get to play with my new tractor. But, oh well, stuff happens and sometimes it doesn't. So today, of course, all kinds of craziness has been going on in the news and all that. I'm not watching the news. I'm not paying much attention to it. I'm paying, some attention, but for the most part, nah. It's just not. It's not worth my time to think about things like that, because if I think about things like that all the time, then I get all bummed out. I mean, come on, there's some crazy crap going on, regardless of your politics. There's some really nutty things going on. Look at Facebook, Twitter, all these big tech platforms deplatforming people, including the President of the United States, regardless of what you think of him. That's crazy. And, the thing that depresses me the most is, I look through Facebook and I would not be on Facebook, straight up. I would not be on Facebook if it wasn't for my job. We've got to, what I do for a living, I have to be on Facebook, at least minimally. And that's what it's going to be. It's going to be minimal. I'll still post my stuff, but you're not going to see me talking about anything politicky on Facebook directly, or Twitter, or Instagram, or whatever else is out there. And no, I didn't really go for the Parler thing, but they're getting deplatformed by, iOS and Android. I mean, that's crazy. Absolutely crazy crap. I mean, how obvious can it be where their bias is? And if you think of Facebook and Twitter and all the rest of these as a free speech zone, well, you're wrong. It's definitely not a free speech zone. And okay, now the libertarian in me says, well, that's okay because that's, you signed up for it and, the service is free. So guess what? You are the product. And, if they decide, it's a private company. If they decide they don't want to serve you in the way that you want to be served, then they're allowed to do that. Now, I think it's pretty obvious, which direction they lean. And I don't know if it's really the people running the organizations that think that way. I don't believe Zuckerberg is a hard lefty, communist or whatever. I don't believe that, but then again, who knows? He doesn't make his politics known, he's not very vocal on it, I should say. So, and that's fine. He doesn't need to be. It's just as well that he's not. But then again, take Facebook for what it is. It's a private company that is tracking you, making money on you, advertising to you. I don't know if it goes much deeper than that as far as evilness, but, that's what it is. it is 100%, money-making outfit. And, when what they're doing no longer becomes profitable, they'll either pivot or they won't. But it is their platform. And I did a whole episode of Podcast Help Desk that I put out yesterday, so go check that out, about building your own podcasting platform like I've done here. Okay, I've got MikeDell.com. I can go up there and I can say and do whatever I want to, in audio or text or video or whatever I want to do, I can do it anytime I want to. And, of course, there probably is ways that could be shut up, but it's not as easily done as, say, on Facebook. Because like I said, when you're doing stuff on Facebook, that's, by their rules. You signed up for it. It's a free service. They own it. You don't own it. And, so be it. That's just how it is. You agreed to the rules, whether you read them or not. You agreed to them. And yeah, it's pretty crappy, but then again, you could build your own. You can get a free blog over at WordPress.com. Now, again, it's a free service. And, Automatic Incorporated, who owns that service, can censor you if they want to. Or you could go rent some space on the internet, install WordPress, or install some other content management system, get your own domain name. You own that domain name, and domain names, so far have been pretty easy. But even without a domain name, you could do it by IP address. So, now that'd be harder. All this is, Facebook's easy. You post something on there and everybody that is quote unquote friends with you on Facebook sees it. Or potentially their algorithms now, blocks it. Don't block, but they choose what you get to see of your friends and what they get to see of you, which I think is pretty crappy. But like I said, it's their system, their rules. So not much we can do about that, other than don't utilize them, or utilize them for what works for you, and don't worry about the rest. I had a hard time, after the election, and then, now this latest craziness, and during this whole COVID thing. I had a hard time, looking at my friends, and I use that in big air quotes because, on Facebook, some of them might be my friends, but most of them are just acquaintances and people I know. I wouldn't consider them, friends in the traditional sense. Some of you guys that are listening here, I consider you guys friends in some cases, the ones that I know. And by the way, shoot me an email, say hi, Mike at MikeDell.com. Let me know what you think. And the thing is I'm not afraid to see other people's opinions. Whereas it seems to me that there are people out there and institutions out there that don't either want you to see opinions that they don't agree with, or, they don't want to see other people's opinions. Like, I made the mistake of commenting on somebody's post, celebrating the fact that President Trump got removed from Twitter. And I'm thinking to myself, well, okay, even if you dislike the guy, and, they said, well, he's inciting violence. No, he was not. Not that I saw. Now, somebody prove me wrong, please. Because if he was, then okay, he deserves it. But, you could interpret what he said to maybe be that way. But did he come out and say, we need to tear down Congress and bust windows and kill people and all that? No, he didn't say that. I guarantee he didn't say that. And I have no firsthand knowledge, but I guarantee he didn't say that. The guy's a buffoon. He's a egotistical, narcissistic, whatever you want to call him. But he's not as bad as what the media, the social media people, all that say. Okay. And, they keep saying, oh, he's racist. No, he's not racist. He's never been racist. Show me one actual thing that he did that was racist. I don't believe that. Whatever, you can differ with me and I'm okay with that. Please, I'm okay with that. But, argue the point, not, don't call me a racist because I don't think Donald Trump's a racist. Okay. That's a difference. They'll attack the person if they disagree with the thing, and okay, nearly half of the country, if we believe the voting, and I'm not going to say anything about that. I have no idea, but let's just say, let's take it at face value. Little less than half the country voted for Donald Trump. That doesn't, even if Donald Trump's a racist, does not make half of the country racist. It doesn't. I don't see where, no more than all those BLM protesters and the riots that were going on all this last year. I don't think all Democrats or all liberals are violent like that. Some of them are, just like, some of the right wingers are, unhinged. They're off the wall. But that's a very small minority. But yet you watch the mainstream media, you watch you watch what gets censored and what doesn't on these platforms. You would think that, anybody that said a good word about Donald Trump ever in their life, okay, they're evil, racist, and all that. They're not. Most people are somewhere in the middle. Most people are somewhere in the middle. And I don't know, to that end, I really, this whole week I've been really resisting arguing with these people on Facebook or Twitter or whatever. And, every time I go to do that, I think to myself, no, why? What is this going to do? I'm not going to convince them. They're not going to convince me. We're not going to have discourse. I'm going to be called names. And, what's the point? So, like I said, you could disagree with me that it's great. I love it. I love to have an actual conversation that doesn't involve calling me names or me calling you names, and that's, you think about it whenever there's an argument, when someone starts personally attacking you because they disagree with your opinion, that, shows that they don't have an actual argument against what you're saying. You could disagree. My wife and I do that all the time. She'll say, well, I think we should do A. I think and then I say, I think we should do B. We still love each other. We're still friendly with one another. We don't call each other names. We just agree that on that particular subject, she's got one opinion, I got another. And, sometimes she wins, sometimes I win, sometimes neither of us win, and that's okay. Having a conversation is a lot better than, just name calling and, and all that stuff. It's getting ugly, and, I don't foresee it getting any nicer. I really don't. I'm going to keep to myself on Facebook and Twitter and all that. Like I said, I have to be on Facebook for my job. I mean, I probably don't have to. But that's just one more thing that, as part of my job, that's a good place to reach out to people, or for people to reach out to me. And if that's what you're talking about, you want to talk about podcasting, or talk about the company I work for, or you want to talk about, Model A Fords or whatever, cars in general, airplanes, that kind of stuff, whatever. Great. Awesome. Let's talk. Facebook's kind of a cool platform for that. But I'm not going to mess with politics on Facebook anymore, or on Twitter, or on, any of these. And I don't really get on Instagram, and I don't really get on LinkedIn. Didn't get on Parler. I did sign up, I believe, looked at it once and said, So I guess I do have a Parler account, but I wouldn't have any idea how to get there anymore. So, it's not relevant. Life is not 100% politics. Yes, there's some screwball stuff that they can do. This whole COVID lockdown stuff, obviously isn't working. Okay. And I'm no scientist, but just, common sense tells you that, the most locked down areas in the country right now are having the worst time with it. Now, I don't think one really has a lot to do with the other, but, you look at California and you can't even do outdoor dining in California. At restaurants, they don't want you to go more than 120 miles from your house. Well, what, the virus doesn't travel, if you go 130 miles, are you more likely to catch COVID than if you went 110? No, it's all stupid. They just, the people, not assigning any nefarious purposes. So we'll just take that at face value. The governor of California or the governor of Michigan or the governor of whatever state or the mayors or whatever, they just feel like they have to do something. Whether that something has anything to do with, helping the situation, whatever. They're doing something. Well, the problem with some of the somethings that they're doing is they're causing more damage than the disease itself. This is, again, common sense. If you're in an age group or, you have medical problems where, getting COVID will be more dangerous to you, then, yes, you should be more careful. And people around you should be more careful around you. 100% for that. But killing off an entire industry, which they're doing to the restaurants in a lot of states, and Michigan being one of them, for, safety at all costs. Well, safety at all costs, it costs a lot. There's people committing suicide. There's people getting kicked out of their houses because they can no longer work. And, and what they give you in unemployment isn't enough. Biggest motivator, biggest way to help is to get people back doing what they do best. I've been lucky, blessed, that it hasn't directly affected me so far anyway. My wife caught COVID and, she came through it just fine and all that. I may have had it and just kept testing negative and, felt like crud for a few days, but that might have been just me feeling like crud for no other reason. But, as far as the job situation, so knock on wood, everything's going good. I work from home anyway, so that wasn't a big change. So really the biggest change I've had is not being able to go out to restaurants and eat indoors. And around here, now here's another stupid thing. The rules say that they can't have indoor dining, but they can have outdoor dining. Okay, it's 28 degrees right now here in Traverse City. And, who's going to sit out in 28-degree weather and eat at a restaurant? So now they're putting up these little igloos, these plastic tent things, little bubbles, I call them, out in front of a lot of restaurants. So then they cram 6 people into one of these little bubbles. So now you're effectively inside still because, you're in this little bubble. There's a heater in there. How are you less apt to catch COVID from somebody if someone in the bubble has it than you would be sitting in an open air, air conditioned, environmentally controlled, heated, whatever restaurant if you're 10 feet apart from everybody than if you're crammed into these little, 5 by 10 or whatever, igloos and stuff. But that's okay. But the other one, sitting inside isn't. And there's also, before this latest lockdown here in Michigan, that started on November 3rd. It's supposed to be over this coming Friday, on the 15th. But, how they decided that the restaurants were the problem, I don't know. She says, well, there's data that shows, and well, where's the data? I don't see any data. From the data I saw, that it was 1% of the transmission of COVID happened in bars and restaurants. And I would bet out of that 1%, 98% of that 1% was the bars where people all stand around the bar and socialize, which is what bars are. So, okay, I could see closing down the bar portion of a restaurant. If you're going to have drinks, you sit at your table. That makes sense. Don't mingle around to the other tables and whatever. That makes sense. Yeah, that's inconvenient, but that makes sense. But then again, it's a disease that has a 99.78% chance of just being no worse than the flu. And I'm talking about, the flu that doesn't kill you. You know what I mean? You got a 99 point something percent chance that, you just get sick for a couple of days and you're done with it. There are, there's outliers, of course, there's young people. That congressman-elect, forget where from, was 40 something years old, caught it and killed him. Well, that's a chance. But you take a chance every time you get in your car. You take a chance every time you get on an airliner. You take your chance every time you cross the street. Every time you get in the bathtub, you're taking a chance. Shouldn't we be able to decide what chances we're willing to take? I want, personally, I like to go to restaurants. And if a restaurant wants to be open, I think it should be able to be open. Now, like I said, it's not the end of the world for me because I don't own a restaurant. I don't run a restaurant. I don't work at a restaurant. So, but to the people that do work in restaurants, and we have some, family members that do, it's devastating. And people that own the restaurants. I have lots of friends that own restaurants, and it's really hard, whether they'll make it through or not. The restaurant business is pretty tenuous at best anyway. So, is it really worth killing off an entire industry and causing, a whole bunch of people to become unemployed and lose their houses and apartments and whatnot? For this point whatever percent chance that you might get COVID, which is survivable. Anyway, I don't know. I guess I'm on a soapbox today. It's, it's just sad what's going on, as far as the whole presidential election stuff. Well, whatever, I don't think it matters a hill of beans. Who's president. If the president matters that much to you and causes that much change in your life, then you're doing something wrong. And nothing happens fast in government. They say, well, now that the Democrats have all three branches of government or all two branches of government and both chambers of Congress and whatever. Yeah, that's not ideal for those of us that like freedom. It's not ideal. They're going to come for your guns. They're going to come for this. They're going to come for that. Well, you know what? It takes a lot more than that. Just, and it's not going to happen quickly. And, remember, these people have to be reelected. And I would be willing to bet that they're not going to touch the gun thing. They may add some rules to it. say, 100% background checks before you transfer a gun. I'm okay with that, to be honest with you. I'm okay with that. I don't want to, if I was going to sell a gun, and I'm not in the business of selling guns, or not looking to sell any guns that I might have, and I'm actually not looking to buy any. So, whatever. But, I'm okay with people that want to buy guns have a background check. I'm okay with that. Well, what's the problem with that? People that shouldn't have them shouldn't have them. People that should have them should be able to get them. I'm okay with that. There was a thing there that, Biden wanted to charge $200 in tax a year for every gun that had the possibility of holding more than 10 rounds. It had nothing to do with the magazines. And, $200 for every magazine that you have that can hold more than 10 rounds. Well, that would cost me a hell of a lot of money, and I don't think that'll happen. I think, on both sides, there's a bunch of rhetoric BS, to make you scared. Well, I'm not going to be scared. Being scared is what they want, to control you. When you're scared, they can control you. And there's nothing to be afraid of. I don't think. Tell me I'm wrong. Now, if you've got lung problems, you've got other mitigating factors that would make fighting off the COVID virus harder for you, then yes, be careful. 100% agree. All that. But if you're in that situation, you shouldn't be going in a Walmart. Right now you can call up Walmart on the phone if you don't have internet. If you're listening to me, you got internet. Or you can get on your smartphone and you can order up everything you need at Walmart, and you can pull up beside a Walmart and tell them you're there, and they'll bring it out to you. You don't have to set foot in there. That's certainly less risky than going into a building where there's been hundreds and hundreds of people passing through there. But yet those businesses can stay open. But, the mom and pop restaurant around the corner can't. Does that make any scientific and common sense? I don't know if I said that right, but it doesn't to me. Like I said, you got another opinion, Mike@MikeDell.com. Please, let's talk. Convince me. I doubt you will, and I doubt I'll convince you if you disagree. But it just, it's getting sad. I'm not afraid. I'm scared that it's going to stay this way, but I'm not afraid. I'm annoyed, saddened that things are coming this way. And I'm saddened, when I look at Facebook and somebody posts that I'm so happy that Donald Trump is off of Twitter. Yay, the world's going to be a better place. Well, first off, your world is awfully damn small. If you think that him not being on Facebook and Twitter is somehow going to make your life better, really? I don't get it. Like I said, I'm not in love with the guy. I think he's kind of an egotistical ass, and he does a lot of stupid shit, but he's not evil. Or even if he is evil, he's not causing evil to me. And for most people, he's actually done some good things. But, I dare you to say that on Facebook. Nobody is just one thing. That's, I guess, what I'm getting at. So, anyway, enough of me rambling on. I'm not trying to depress anybody. Just know that you have the choice. You have the choice of paying attention to what people are thinking on Facebook. You have the choice of watching the NBC nightly scare. I mean, the late nightly news. I mean, think about the business model of the news channels. You know, you look at Fox and MSNBC, CNN, even Newsmax. You know, that's the new conservative. You know, they're just as fucked in the head. Excuse my language. Just as fucked in the head as any of the other ones. They're just fucked in the head, maybe in a direction that you might more agree with. But doesn't mean that they're the be all end all. You know, they've got some great people over there, but they got some great people at CNN. They got some great people at MSNBC. You know, I may disagree with them, but some of them are actually good. Some of them, they're not journalists. That's the thing, the mainstream media, and I know that's a big talking point, big buzzword, the mainstream media, but I think that all of them, doesn't matter which side of which fence they're on, they're not living up to what they used to be. And I don't know of a source of good information out there, because you can't believe anything that you hear or even see in some cases, because that can be manipulated. So, what are we supposed to do? 20 years ago, 30 years ago, maybe, I guess more like 30 years ago, we didn't have all these sources of information. We didn't have the 24-hour news networks that have to make up 23 hours of what they broadcast. We didn't have, information in your pocket. Anytime you wanted to learn something, you pull out your phone, and you couldn't do that 30 years ago. You had to go read a book, go to the library, there was a lot harder to get all this information. And, I'm beginning to wonder if we need all this information. And I find myself, just not quite going into cold sweats, but definitely feeling it when, I'm not connected to something, and just merely watching TV and, not talking about news, but just watching entertainment or a movie or something on the TV or YouTube video, whatever. I find myself picking up my phone or my iPad and doing something else while that's going on. So am I getting anything out of the TV? Am I getting anything out of a podcast that I'm listening to if I'm also doing something else? Also information related? We don't need all this information. Maybe. I don't know. I'm addicted as the next guy. But, so what I've been doing is I watch the first 15 minutes of my local newscast. So yes, I do get a little bit of national in there if something big's going on. And as soon as the sport starts, I flip to something else. Lately, it's been, old sitcoms on MeTV. It's a network that we get over the air. I've cut the cable famously, year and a half ago or 2 years ago or whatever it was. And just doing it, doing the antenna TV thing. So I watch my local newscast. I've taken Facebook and Twitter off of my phone, so it's not right there all the time. So the only time I access Facebook or Twitter is in my easy chair on the iPad or on the computer. And I don't have it constantly up. I don't have notifications turned on any of those things. So, I go there when I want to go there. I don't get suckered into going there by some notification, but I'm going to rely more on my own platform, this website, MikeDell.com, and this podcast. If I really have an opinion about something, that's where I'll put it. And I'm not going to argue on social media with people. I'm not going to comment on their opinion, and I'm not going to put my opinion there for them to comment on. It just does nobody any good. I'll talk about podcasting. I'll talk about airplanes. I'll talk about cars. I'll laugh at the jokes, that kind of stuff, and whatever else I'm interested in. But I'm going to stay away from the politics on those platforms because it does nobody any good. And, if that's all you're going to be putting on your Facebook is, politicky stuff, well, I'm going to quietly disassociate myself with you on Facebook. Sorry. But, I no longer want to spend any brain cycles worrying about that kind of stuff and worrying about what everybody thinks. I don't care what you think. You're wrong or you're right. Okay. But it's none of my business either way. And you'll hear some conservatives and liberals out there, they'll say, well, if you're not fighting, then you're complicit. And well, you know what? I'm not going to be able to change your mind. You're not going to be able to change mine. So what's the point? Let's just be friends and talk about cars and airplanes and podcasting and whatever else happens to pop up that doesn't require me to be on side A or side B. It's both parties. It's like, no matter what, if a Democrat says it, all the people that identify as Democrats say it's great. And all of them that identify as Republicans say it sucks. And vice versa. It's team sports. It's like University of Michigan versus Ohio State, or Yankees versus the Red Sox, and that's all the more it really matters, and they say there's a civil war coming. Well, it very well could be. There's enough idiot extremists on both sides, and all I care about is, I want the freedom to do what I want to do. As long as I don't infringe on your right to do what you want to do, who cares? What business is that of the government or anything? Like I said, I don't hate the government. They do a lot of good things, but they shouldn't be relied upon to, tell me what to do. That's the problem. So many people, well, if I don't agree with it, then it shouldn't happen. You get the militant vegans. I got some friends that are vegan, and that's great. If it works for you, awesome. But I'm going to go have a hamburger when I want to go have a hamburger. Okay. You may think it's not healthy. And you may be right. But that's freedom. I want to have guns available to myself. I want my guns. I've got my guns. I want my guns. And I'd like to be able to carry my gun when I think I want to carry my gun. Okay? My gun's not going to shoot you unless you do something stupid to endanger my life. Otherwise, what does it harm you? It doesn't harm you. And they'll say, oh, well, because, somebody else could get your gun. Well, yeah, somebody else could, but somebody else could get my car and drive through a crowd of people. Should we ban cars now? No. And like I said, guns, the same thing. Yes, there's some idiots that get guns. There's idiots that get cars. There's idiots that get airplanes. We're not going to stop that by taking it away from the people that use them responsibly. It's just not. And that's common sense. And if you can't see that common sense, then, you're playing by a different set of rules. I guess it's a nice way of saying you're just wrong. Like I said, you hear about, they say that the Republicans and the conservatives are against gay marriage. I don't see that anywhere. I really don't. The conservatives that I know could care less. It's like, great, whatever flips your tripper, but, I also don't want it in my face. You know, I don't want to know what you do in your bedroom, and I don't want you to know what I do in my bedroom. Leave it at that. You know, or they're talking about the bathrooms, whole bathroom situation. I have a perfect solution to that. You know, if you go into a bathroom and I see your junk in a public bathroom, you're doing it wrong. You know, I just don't get why, you know, people are worried about that kind of thing. It's like, you know, what you do in the bathroom's your business. What you do in the bedroom's your business. Who you choose to marry, that's your business. I don't care, you know? So anyway, wow. Lots of politicky stuff. Didn't really mean to go that far, but, you know, like I said, in my case, I'm going to, you know, just keep Facebook as and all the rest as a casual activity and, you know, what I have to do for business. And that's it. You know, I'm not going to pick arguments with people, and I'm not going to make some big statement saying, I'm out of here, and, or I'm blocking you, or, you know, if all you're talking about is politics all the time, left, right, center, whatever, but if it's all politics, I'm not that interested anymore. And, you know, it's hard to do because I do have opinions, as everybody does. And, you know, as far as the social media is, I'll leave those to myself. You know, you want to hear my opinion, you listen to this podcast. And if you want to disagree with that opinion, it's your right. I love it. You know, tell me about it. Tell me I'm full of crap. I would love to have an actual conversation with somebody that believes different than me so I can understand what makes them tick and you can understand what makes me tick and all that. But we've lost that. Now it's you're either team A or team B, and whatever you say, you know, if you're on the other team is garbage and, you know, should be banned. The word ban should be banned. Because, you know, some crazy batshit nutball lefty or righty, you know, okay, why shouldn't they be heard? You know, for most people, they're going to look at that and say, that's absurd. And that in itself is worthwhile. I don't know. All right, I got to shut this off. Everybody have a great week. And I promise next week I'll tell you about my tractor adventures unless something else crazy happens. Anyway, catch me later. You can always find me at MikeDell.com if I disappear from anywhere else.